Hola, everybody. That's Spanish, eh?
Hola.
Mixing it up because it's
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Got to mix it up on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
What they always say.
Every Wednesday we do it, and every Wednesday we'll continue to do it.
I'm starting to get a little overwhelmed by the amount of mix-up.
You're gonna have to say a different version of hello every Wednesday now.
Guten Tag.
Well,
there goes.
Stop wasting them. Oh man, that's probably the only two you know. Oh well.
Anyways, that's Eric.
Yep.
I am Matt, and the semifinals are. Hello, Eric. Hello, viewers. Semifinals are right around the corner. They start this weekend. That's pretty exciting. And the quarterfinals are donezo. So good night, goodbye, good afternoon to Misfits, Fnatic, Cloud9, and of course, Longzhu.
As everyone
in
predicted.
The only team to get clean swept. And that means there are no more teams from the West. Good night. That's it.
Goodbye, West.
They're all gone. Disappointing. But at the same time, very
Not
competitive.
disappointing.
Because, I mean, for the first time, well, not for the first time, but this is the most competitive quarterfinals we've ever had in terms of games watched. So 17 of a possible 20, whereas in past years, the last highest was 16, and then 14 before that. So this is the most games we've had in the quarterfinals. And the only team who really dropped the ball was like another Korean team. So not bad.
Yeah, I mean, usually you're expecting at least really 2 games to be 3-0s, or 2 series to be 3-0s. Only one this time, and yeah, the tournament favorites are on the wrong end of a 3-0 sweep. So very interesting quarterfinals so far, and really the whole tournament as a whole has been very competitive and very interesting.
Definitely has been. But yeah, the West is dead. Nonetheless, a lot of respects to what they were able to bring to the tournament, because no one expected, Misfits to put up a great fight against SKT. No one really expected Cloud9 to go the full distance with World Elite. But that's what we saw. And it made for a very exciting quarterfinals. Probably the best one to date.
Yeah, because again, usually they're kind of that first seed steamrolls over someone, first seed steamrolls over someone else, and then maybe an upset where a team you didn't expect to be a second seed wins, but yeah, they're not that interesting. And then the semifinals are when it gets really interesting. But we've already been revved up, which means these semifinals are just going to be even spicier, I hope. I hope.
Yeah, don't want to raise the bar too high.
No.
When that bar is too high, you get knocked in the head by the bar. That's what happens.
Well, that means you're jumping really high.
That means you're jumping very low.
Oh, right. I was thinking pole. I was thinking of pole vaulting.
You pole vault upside down? Is that what happens?
Well, yeah.
I
It's
guess.
higher up. You're hitting your head. Pole vaulting is very hard, by the way.
Have you done it?
No.
Well, it looks very difficult.
It does.
I'm with you on that. Let's stop being idiots and I guess get to the semifinal matchups. That's what everyone wants. No one cares about Cloud9 anymore because they suck. No, they don't suck. They're pretty good.
Jeez.
But
harsh.
Harsh. But anyways, for the first time since 2014, 2 Chinese teams. Even 1 Chinese team in the semifinals. It's been a while. It's been a few years.
Yeah, and it's especially exciting to have them playing at home for this, and RNG themselves an actual full Chinese roster, which is pretty rare the last couple of years with so many Koreans heading over to the LPL for that extra money. So home crowd definitely cheering even harder for RNG. Obviously, they're still cheering for WE as well, but we'll see. Maybe the potential is there for an all-Chinese final. Don't know if that'll necessarily be the case, but it's possible.
It is possible. I'm not entirely sure it's going to happen, and for that to actually, happen, as I just said, SKT is going to have to lose to Royal Never Give Up. And it's completely possible based on what we saw in the quarterfinals, because Misfits brought a bunch of new things, new innovations to SKT, and SKT, as they have for most of this tournament, haven't looked like the SKT that we know and love in that they dominate. But one thing they have done is come back from 2-1 deficits to end up winning a series or Worlds or whatever, because they're no strangers to being down a series. But still, they look weaker than we're accustomed to seeing. Part of that was Misfits bringing up these strange picks. We saw Leona from Ignar, the Blitzcrank from Ignar. They weren't ready for that on SKT side. Ended up having to ban out the Blitzcrank at times just to adjust to what they were doing. So for RNG, they haven't really played anything crazy. They've been very standard, but they've also been very good at playing standard. And both these teams haven't really cared about the early game too much. So we'll see which one can outperform in the late if they stay with their original strategies.
Yeah, and I think SKT, it's not just the quarterfinals against Misfits. You go back much further than that, and they're definitely the weakest you've seen them at an international competition. They weren't dominant by any means in the group stage, dropped a game to AHQ, should have dropped a couple to EDG probably, and then even back in the LCK summer, you saw them dropping 9 straight series, which is something you're just totally not accustomed to seeing with this organization. They fell in the LCK finals for the first time in team history, so definitely some serious chinks in the armor for this SKT Titan, and yeah, RNG is flying. Again, a lot of these games against Fnatic weren't super clean, but they still did close it out in 4 games, and they looked super solid in the group stage, 2-0ing Samsung. So this will be close. It's be a close series.
Yeah, it'll be close. And one of the key matchups for me is obviously in the mid lane. Everyone knows Faker, best player in the world.
Yep.
Yeah, Eric's heard of him, so it must be a big deal. But he's going up against Xiaohu, a guy who, even this tournament, he had some hype going into it, but then once the play started, everyone's like, Uzi, wow, you're so good.
Yeah.
And it's warranted because he's putting up like 40% damage percentage on his team and stuff like that. But, I mean, this guy, he's not dying much this tournament. His KDA 14.8, and they're kind of playing similar styles too. Mid lane is not the carry role at this tournament. So both these guys are playing Ryze, playing Galio, making sure their bot lane's okay, mixing in some Talia from time to time, you know, keeping it fresh. But they're both so good at affecting the side lanes, even if, you know, they're not able to 1v1 in the mid or whatever, it's translating it into an advantage in the bot side. And that's what Xiaohu specifically has been able to do in my eyes. And Faker still comes up clutch in these moments with some crazy ultimates, and he still helps up bang when he needs to.
Yeah, and Faker, obviously, those last 2 games against Misfits was playing pretty insanely well, and was one of the main reasons SKT came back in that series. But I mean, when you see Huni on this Jace, that's something that SKT just really want to get ahead in these games. Even if having Faker run up there before he even has his ultimate, that is a slow roam for a Galio there. But it's just something they really want to do, is obviously getting that Jace ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he fully understands that, and even no one expects a level 5 roam on Galio. No. That's just out of surprise. And then this team fight, he just cleaned up with the Ryze, completely zoned out Hans Hama from that fight in a very important game 4 that they were losing at one point. So, I mean,
most of it. Yeah,
he's been very on point. And then Xiaohu as well, just coming in with the package. He's been a great engager, even though he hasn't always come up with these kills. His Corki's on point as well. Just, you have to be playing a mid laner who can kind of bring a long distance engage, whether it's at Galio, whether it's Corki with package to Leah Wall. It's all about getting to these team fights from a distance.
Yeah, and having that along with a teleport on whatever champion you're playing. But I mean, both of these guys, Faker specifically, he's played 8 different champions in 11 games. I mean, this guy's champion pool has never been questioned. No. It's always insanely deep, and it's only going to continue going forward. There's no sense trying to ban out this guy. Xiaohu's played 5 different champions in RNG's games, and he's played a lot of Galio. But yeah, that is because of the meta, and when you have Uzi on the team who's just popping off pretty much every game and playing these hyper carries, just build up a wall for them, and it seems to work pretty well. So obviously there's a lot of crossover picks between these guys that'll be going into this series. You know, the Talia, the Galio, something that maybe you wouldn't see Faker play earlier on in the year, but nowadays he's played some games on it and looks perfectly fine, to no surprise. So there's going to definitely be some crossover in that mid lane, as with pretty much any mid laner in this tournament, because there's really 4 or 5 main picks.
Yeah, I'd also expect to see Malzahar maybe prop up again, specifically against that Galio. We've seen people pick it as a bit of a counter. Great thing to bust open those tanks when you have to. And then on top of that, who knows? Faker could bring out the Fizz again. He's already brought it out twice this tournament. A little assassin action when you need it to get into that back line or just win the 1v1 match in mid. So maybe he'll bring out that Fizz pick again, which is, it's strange to see an assassin in this meta, especially with all the protection AD carries are getting. But if you can take him down, then they're at a pretty big advantage in these team fights.
Yeah, good luck trying to kill an AD carry, even when you're 7-0 on a Fizz, when there's so many shields and buffs. But, you know, if anyone can do it, Faker can do it. But it's hard to say there's really a big advantage in that mid lane because, yeah, it's just, there's not much 1v1 destruction going on in that mid lane. Yeah, we've seen it a bit in some of these series. You saw BDD really manhandling Crown early in that Longzhu Samsung series. That didn't play off too well. It's basically all 4 of these teams left in the semis had pretty much the best mid to late game rating not pretty much, the best mid to late game rating throughout the entire tournament and not very good early game. So it's kind of the theme of this tournament is teams almost are just like, whatever. We're behind early. Who cares? We'll eventually come back in these team fights and we'll be fine. So, yeah, there's not a whole lot going on in these lanes early on.
Yeah, and even for Roll Never Give Up, their first blood rate or percentage was only 20. Only at 20, but their first tower was at 70. So they really didn't care about falling behind in kills. But as long as they got those objectives, they were pretty happy. So, I mean, that was one thing we saw them do. They'd give up kills on one side of the map and then go take a dragon or a turret somewhere else and just turn that into a decent gold. Even if it was a deficit, they didn't care because they knew they won in the late game. But obviously, mid lane is important, but 80 carries is what it's all about right now.
It's all that matters. Buff them up and let them do work. As soon as they get that 2-item power spike, good night.
It's over. And these two teams have some pretty good 80 carries, I would say. Uzi has looked fantastic, with the exception of a couple bonehead plays, which he's kind of known for. And he's going up against Bang, who was at one time considered one of, if not the best, 80 carries in the world. But since he's kind of fallen off, and he's been hit or miss this tournament, as he has been during the LCK splits, probably summer split. So it's going to be interesting to see. But right now, I would say Uzi has an edge, especially, you look at that damage percentage, man. That's 42.5, nearing 50. Half his team's damage on champions like Kog'Maw, on this Twitch, which you seem to pull off some crazy flanks. KDA, 11.3, looks like nothing compared to Xiaohu's, but still, this guy is carrying his team.
Yeah, and also, obviously, the team funnels an insane amount of resources into him. He's the only guy in the tournament who still has over 11 CS a minute. No one else has that mark. That is insane. 10 is the dream. 10 is the dream, and he's sitting at a little over 11, so that is absolutely monstrous. And obviously, whenever there's side lane farm, RNG is going to be funneling it into this guy because he's played pretty insanely well. But again, Bang hasn't been that bad, really. Some of these games he has come up big. He may have struggled early on, but a lot of these comebacks that SKT had came through Bang in the end.
Yeah, they definitely did. And I mean, even against Misfits in that bot lane, there were some interesting 2v2s, and you saw them lose some, you saw them win some as well. So, I mean, Bang's always got the potential for outplays, and then Uzi, he's aggressive. We know he's aggressive. Even on this Kog'Maw, which you want to be playing safe on, he's right up in there, and then he finds ways to get damage done, even in this massive team fight. He's pretty much untouched on the Twitch on the side, and he just, for the most part, he knows when's a good time to engage. Occasionally, he will tank a million turret shots and then get an R house to the head.
Whoops.
But that's okay, because they won the series anyway, so all is forgotten.
Yeah, and I think in terms of the 2v2 for Bang and Wolf, I'm not going to knock you too hard. I don't think they've played that many games against the Fervor Leona bottom lane, so probably not too familiar with her damage numbers and what she's doing, especially at level 1. So yeah, that was bad, losing that 2v2. But I mean, I can't see RNG pulling that out unless they're like, oh man, SKT, they can't deal with Fervor Leona. Bust it out, guys, bust it out. But yeah, don't see any crazy picks like that coming out in this bottom lane. So I think Bang and Wolf will be able to hold their own.
Yeah, I mean, Ming has, he really liked the Soraka pick in that quarterfinal matchup. And
Camp it.
He's been playing a lot of Janna, a lot of Lulu, and one game of Morgana. So he hasn't done anything too crazy. Pretty much Soraka, which got, at times, abused by Fnatic early on. But once you get late, you just spam heal, press alt occasionally, and you're good to go. So
yeah, I mean, sure, it's great to get kills on the Soraka, but it's not doing much to set her behind, where basically her stats are health. Do I have enough health to heal? Yes. Okay. I have an Ardent Censer. Okay. I'm a pretty strong champion then.
You're doing your job.
Doesn't matter if I'm 4 levels lower than anyone else. I got the item. So yeah, not a huge deal to get set back like that. But yeah, it is a pretty easy game.
Yeah, it is pretty easy. But let's get to our predictions for this series. The old SKT going to another final, you think? Going for a 3rd straight Worlds. That'd be their 4th World Championship, would be pretty absurd. And RNG trying to win in front of their home crowd, get to that Olympic Stadium, which is a pretty sweet arena to have the finals in.
Yes, it seats over 80,000, I believe. And those tickets sold out pretty quickly. Yeah. Within minutes, I believe that the stadium sold out. There goes my pen. That's for you guys.
Who needs it?
I didn't want it anymore. Do I think SKT go for a 3rd straight? I think they look a little bit too weak. I mean, by their standards, RNG look like they're they're flying on all cylinders, even in these games against Fnatic where they had some pretty substantial deficits early on. I know SKT's come back from some big deficits as well, but I think I slightly favor RNG in this one just because you even look at last series when they were down 2-1, Faker said he felt like maybe it was just our time to lose because they weren't, I forget exactly what the wording he said was, but it was just their time. He kind of felt like that. So that doesn't exactly inspire confidence going forwards. Maybe they feel like they have a new life, but I feel like RNG, it's their time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Even old Faker would have been like, we were 30K down, but I still knew we were going to win that game.
30K, yeah.
He did not.
It's a huge step.
Yeah. But yeah, when I heard that, I'm like, that's a little strange. That's a different mindset for this SKT team. Maybe they're aware they're weaker. They obviously have some issues in the jungle. Huni hasn't been exceptional. He's been okay at times, but yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think RNG is going to come out on top. And man, if to not see SKT in the finals is just going to be a weird image. But I would like to see that image and have the Chinese team finally have someone to root for. They've been crazy so far, as you've heard in the broadcast and the random bursts of screams over the potential of a gank or anything. So I want to see RNG in the finals, and I think they have what it takes to pull it off. Again, Xiaohu's been so impressive, and it really comes down to me is can MLXG just hold up? Because at times he's been a little crazy, missing on these ganks, not connecting and getting those first bloods. But if he can just hold his own and do okay against Blank and Peanut, which probably don't have to do too much, the way they've been performing, I think that RNG has a lane has an advantage pretty much anywhere else.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see who SKT actually decides to start in this series.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of points that they'll start Peanut, but I mean, he has looked very questionable, and Blank has looked a little bit better, but not much better. No. And yeah, that whole top side, I mean, they really like to get Huni on this Jace. That seems to be something they love playing around. Outside of that Jace, I think Huni's been a little bit underwhelming in this tournament. And I mean, that Jace is something that if RNG gets it, that's probably going to Xiaohu more so than Let Me. So that'll be a contested pick, I'm sure, going forward. But yeah, I think bot lane, you favor RNG. Top lane, it kind of depends on the champion, but I mean, I think I'm a little bit more confident in Let Me playing okay or decently throughout the whole thing. At jungle, I got to give it to MLXG unless he really poops the bed, as they do say very often. And mid lane's probably, you're not giving a huge advantage or really any advantage to either guy. These are two fantastic players, so got to give the edge to RNG, but probably going 5. At least 4. Man, there's no way it's a sweep.
If it goes 5, though, you're always scared because SKT in Game 5, you don't see them drop that too often. But
it was close against Misfits, though. Usually, at 5th game, you're pretty confident that you're like, okay, SKT's gonna win this.
Fumbled that one, too.
Yeah, and Misfits really, save for a couple mistakes by them, they might have won that game, too.
So the question is, I mean, can RNG play better than Misfits? Because they really took it to them. I guess that's what it comes down to. But yeah, I'll give it to RNG. I've got faith in the Chinese team. Get it done. Get back there, and then Uzi can get 2nd place again.
Oh, adios. It's so sad. Lose to his fellow Chinese team, WE, in the final. Wouldn't that be?
That'd be interesting.
3-2? 2-1? 3-1?
Who do you even cheer for? I'll take it 3-2 for RNG. But 3-2. Who do you even cheer for at that point? It'd just be screaming endlessly.
Yeah, every play, every ward kill. Very sore voice.
Very sore voice.
Voice box, you know.
All right. So we're both on RNG. Look at that.
Look at that.
We're gonna.
Is the SKT era over?
A week from today, we will be like, wow, we are idiots.
When they 3-0 them?
Yeah.
I don't think they will.
Well, yeah, we will see.
I don't think they will.
Let's get to Samsung versus World Elite, the 2nd semifinal. Another Chinese team against another Korean team.
Shocking in these semifinals, you know.
I know. But Samsung was the only team to pull off a sweep. They looked very strong against Longzhu. No one really expected Samsung to come out and do what they did. Everyone was like, oh, they're this big team fighting team. They're going to try to wait till the late game and then take advantage. But that was not the case. Ambition got things going early. He really helped Crown in that mid lane. And then from there, once Crown was able to get a bit of an edge, he was pushing around BDD and was just having an effect on the map. He looked much better than in the group stage, turning his KDA around from like 3 to about 7.2. So big improvement for Crown. And again, the question is pretty much going to come down to one of these jungle matchups against Condi and Ambition. These two guys who generally more control-based. You're not going to see them pump out a lot of damage. And for me, I think Ambition has a pretty solid edge in this jungle matchup.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we get a repeat performance out of Ambition like he did in that Longzhu series. I mean, yeah, even in the group stage, he was very different. He wasn't quite as solid. Samsung as a whole looked like a totally different team. And they're pretty much, however well Ambition is playing, that is correlated to the whole team. If he's playing super well, you 3-0 Longzhu. If he struggles a bit, well, you guys might get 3-0'd yourselves, or at least drop a couple of these games. So I'm not as confident that he puts up such a solid performance. Get him off the Sejuani. I mean, he's played 3 champions this whole tournament. He's played Sejuani, Kazakhs, and I believe Gragas he played once. I can't remember what the third one was, but it's mostly Sejuani. So you ban that Sejuani away, and we'll see if he can put up such continue to do a solid performance. So I might go towards Condi in this matchup. He's been pretty solid for WE.
When I watched back some of the games with Condi, at points it seemed like he would disappear and kind of get lost in the early game. I mean, Contracts in the early part of that C9 series was out jungling him, and that's a bit of a concern. But at the same time, he kind of knows where to be at the right points. He's never going to wow you, is the thing, which is why he kind of flies under the radar sometimes. He's just a very strong, controlled jungler, but he also gets picked out and doesn't supply enough vision for his team on occasion. And then there's Ambition, who looks like he has his synergy back with Crown finally, at least in this 1-3 game series that we saw. Which, you're right, in the group stage he did not look nearly as good, but I mean, Ambition is one of the greats all time, and we'll see if he can keep it rolling on this world stage for Samsung. I'm going to stick with Ambition. I think he's kind of got the hotter hand rolling in. But again, it is close, and neither one of these guys is really going to surprise you, I think, with the picks. I don't expect Ezreal jungle. I don't expect anything like that. It's going to be the holy trinity of junglers. The Gragas, the Jarvan, the Sejuani. Very exciting stuff.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the thing with that first series that people have got to talk about is that Samsung is very familiar with Longzhu. They've played against them for an entire split. They played best ofs against them. They've probably scrimmed with them and SKT more than anyone else at this tournament. Definitely more than anyone else at this tournament. So they're very familiar with them. WE, not the case at all. Not that that means, sure, they're going to pick some random picks that Samsung's not expecting. That might not be the case, but just how they approach the game is still definitely going to be very different than Longzhu, and the things that, how they react to things are going to be different. So we'll see if Samsung's able to prepare for that as well as they did for preparing against Longzhu, because again, they had a lot of information about Longzhu.
Yeah, they definitely did. It's going to be intriguing because, again, there's so many things. In quarterfinals, you saw these new picks. Samsung actually brought out one of them with the Lissandra from Crown, which I think could have another showing as well, because
it looks pretty good.
It did look pretty good. It brings something else aside from that Sejuani ult, which brings lockdown. Using that Glacial Prison as well for Lissandra could be such a great tool to actually keep one of those 80 carries from doing damage. Even if you don't kill him, you just keep him in that chamber for a while.
Keep him in the chamber.
Keep him in the chamber.
The Han Solo.
Sounds like a rock song.
Freeze chamber.
Keep him in the chamber. That's the song.
Yeah, that was pretty rockin', man. Rockin'.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's comparable to the Malzahar like that, where you just find the AD and you press R on them, and then you're like, you can't fight now. And basically force a QSS or Mikhail's out of someone. So I could definitely see that being a pick in that mid lane, especially if there's a couple bans that are coming in against these top 3, 4, 5 mid laners that are out there. I'd like to see more of Lissandra.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty creative pick. We haven't seen much of it at all. Not even talks about it. Whereas Miles, you've kind of heard whispers of
Malzahar.
Lock it in. But not Lissandra. None of that. No one. Oh, I missed that. Sorry. I'll just go back and play Talia again.
Yeah, Talia again, Rise again. Always Rise.
Yeah.
No matter how many reworks.
No.
Rise always rises again.
Yeah, even though in the group stage the results were very bad, it's pretty much been opposite, just like Tristana.
Yeah.
Tristana's been far and above probably the highest win rate, 80 carry.
12-1's pretty good.
In the quarterfinals, that's not bad.
That's pretty good.
And the people who are going to be wielding those 80 carries are Ruler and Mystic. Mystic, yeah. And I mean, Mystic, again, against Cloud9, this guy was pumping up the Kog'Maw damage like no tomorrow. These Chinese 80 carries doing more damage than anyone else at Worlds Tournament. And I mean, even his laning is pretty strong. But once he gets out of that lane and into these actual team fights, it looks like the man can never die.
Yeah, and we'll see how Samsung deals with drafting against World Elite, because C9 got a lot of flack for it in that 5th game with the Kog'Maw, Galio, Janna Dream Comp. I mean, there's the Xayah ban because that's one of Mystic's most comfortable champions. Obviously, he looks super comfortable on that Kog'Maw. We'll see how Samsung prioritizes those AD carries. Ruler, you haven't seen him on Kog'Maw as much, definitely at this tournament, so you got to think maybe they're banning that away. Maybe they're banning a couple ADs away from Mystic. But as per usual, Tristana going to be a highly contested pick. And Ruler actually looked super solid in that Longzhu series.
Yeah, he did. He played just on all 3 games in that series. But I mean, Mystic, not just going to sit back either and do damage with that W. He'll flash forward just like Uzi will and get those Rage Blade hits off. Ruler also, he knows how to be aggressive on that Tristana. Again, he played her all 3 games. And if you're untouched, you're going to be pulling out all those damage once you put the E proc on someone's head. You know, a couple times. Very clean kill there with the E auto one-shot finish. Looked very gorgeous.
Very gorgeous.
Very gorgeous.
Yeah.
You should use that if you ever need a nice pickup line. You're very gorgeous. Very, very gorgeous.
Not much of a pickup line.
No, it is.
Very not creative. But
you're going to have to trust it.
Yeah, Ruler looks solid on the Tristana. Outside of that, we'll see. I think there's going to be a lot of AD bans going forward. I mean, Kalista, perma-banned.
Yeah.
You should just save time and pick bans. Just whoever's on whichever side, whoever's on red side, just start Kalista banned.
Yeah, might as well.
Save some time. But I'd probably give the edge to Mystic in that bot lane matchup, just because, yeah, he was hard carrying a lot of these games against Cloud9. Their comps were made around him, as most ADs are at this tournament. Comps are based around them. But yeah, he looks super solid, and I think he just is more comfortable on more champions than Ruler, and you'll see that in this series.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and especially when you have Ben playing Janna. World Elite is perfect, undefeated when that Janna is logged in on their side. So that's definitely something to look out for. Try to take it away, ban it, do whatever you have to, because when they're on that champion and they're able to protect Mystic, it's pretty much game over for World Elite. So I'd like to see Samsung try to take that away. At least try. Otherwise, you just know, Cloud9, that you're probably going to fall short in that series. So I'm still going to lean Samsung's way. I think after you look at that quarterfinal series against Longzhu, it's like, wow, this is very impressive. Everyone thought they'd sit back and wait for late. They're one of the few teams of these 4 semifinalists to actually be a little proactive and get something done early on in these games with ambition, finding some early ganks, and then they were just able to kind of roll these advantages into some pretty convincing wins over a very good team in Longzhu. World Elite, and again, one of those other teams that kind of sit back and wait for Mystic to get a couple items and then take over the game. So I think Samsung, they're being a bit more versatile in what they've shown so far. I think they can play different ways, and I think they'll take the series against World Elite 3-1.
3-1, okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to give, the bit of the edge to Samsung. I mean, you look across the board. QV, I think 957 has been pretty solid. Pretty solid for World Elite. He's looked great on things like Cho'Gath, which pretty much every top laner does on that champion. But I mean, busting out the Kennen for QV, you know he can play some of these carry champions. And with Khan out, he's probably the best top laner left in the tournament. So that's going Samsung's way. I think if Ambition, if he continues to play the way he was, I'm not so sure he will continue to play. And that's why I think Samsung drops a game or two, because you've seen when Ambition struggles, the whole team struggles, and they just look totally lost. So I think they have a game, maybe 2, where that happens, and World Elite comes away with a win. But overall, World Elite weren't super convincing against Cloud9. Really almost lost game 1, and then technically you'd say Cloud9 would have 3-0'd them. Obviously that probably wouldn't have been the case, but I mean, they squeaked out that series, and Samsung dominate the tournament favorites. Got to give the edge to them. I might go 3-2 though.
That's
3-2 again, back-to-back 3-2s in these semifinals, I'm feeling, but I think Longzhu gets back, or not Longzhu, Samsung gets back to the finals, their shot at redemption. And Crown has been craving his shot at redemption. Might not get SKT though. Might not get the true vengeance, but I mean, this roster is the exact same as last split. Anything short of the finals is a disappointment for them.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I mean, I wouldn't hate another SKT Samsung final. Last time it was pretty good.
The old almost reverse sweep.
The old almost reverse.
Classic.
Yeah, pretty great. Yeah, that series was nuts. SKT goes up 2-0. Samsung comes fighting back after being down massively in Game 3. And then, what a doozy.
What a doozy.
That's right.
I think most combinations that you would get in this finals will be pretty interesting, though.
Yeah.
Either have a Chinese-Korean matchup, which obviously, as long as you have one of these Chinese teams in the finals, it's going to be a pretty insane atmosphere in the bird's nest. And then, yeah, you have a rematch of last year.
You're not feeling it, huh? You want change?
I want a bit of change. I want some new blood in there, even though, I mean, Uzi isn't exactly new blood in
he's
the
got
World
old
Finals. Very old blood. Actually, ancestral blood.
Wow, that's...
Yeah, it goes way back, hundreds of thousands of years. But an all-Chinese matchup would be very cool because that means no Koreans in the finals at Worlds. We can finally say the gap's closing.
The gap would be shut.
Gap? Can you shut a gap?
You can cover it with, like, paper, I guess.
Oh, the gap would be covered with paper. That's what we'll be saying.
That's right. I can hear that being cast. The gap has been covered in paper.
I mean, maybe Riv would say something like that.
Yeah, he's a little ridiculous.
Like, what are you talking about, Riv?
Before we get to your questions, one more topic, and that is we got a new patch. We got a new patch, and guess what, everybody? Finally, at last, it's dead.
We killed it.
Riot killed it after giving it life that it didn't deserve.
It was a plague, a disease, an infection taking over the rift.
Yes.
And finally, we found the cure.
Riot nerfing it.
It just took 3 patches.
That's all it took. And yeah, they didn't just touch it. They didn't poke it and be like, stop.
They pretzeled it. They put everything every which way.
Yeah.
It's a significant nerf. Don't buy it.
I mean, they're completely negating the early game use of it. People would rush that item and be like, I'm done. My build's done. I got Ardent Censer.
Yeah.
Now there's no point in touching this thing early.
Yeah. 3rd item, maybe. 2nd.
And the magic on hit is just like
5 to start.
Just
5.
Compared to the 20 that it was.
5.
So yeah, I mean, it's warranted because enough Janna, enough Lulu. Good riddance.
No more.
Leave me alone.
Maybe that means the heal barrier will start to go away as well from the bottom lane because, I mean, that's what people are running, but you still got to all in that bottom. And then they heal barrier, shield, and you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Your whole health bar. So maybe that'll go away too. Bring back the exhaust and ignites.
I mean,
that's where the fun is in the bottom lane.
You knew there was a problem once AD carries started rushing or buying Relic Shield first. Just to get the support more gold. You know it's supposed to be the opposite, where you get your carry the gold?
Yeah, it's like when Relic Shield first came out, and it was like,
yeah,
everyone built it.
It was double melee bot.
Yeah.
Just whacking things.
Little Braum Jarvan. That's
yep.
always fun. But thank God for Ardent Censer. They also changed Galio.
I mean, Galio was definitely busted, but this might be one of those Riot things where they change it, and now it's even more busted, potentially.
So they basically made it so his AP ratios are way better, but his base damages are way less. So you actually have to build AP to do damage, which, wow, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But
there's been some videos that show this looks completely insane.
And they're going out of proportion.
Yeah, I will say that these videos, the guy has like 35 kills in a game, and he's like 4 levels higher than people. So I mean, pretty much any champion in the game, if you're that fed, you're going to 4-shot people or 2-shot people. But, I mean, maybe it will be an issue. Maybe not. I mean, even if you're building that bursty and doing so much damage, at least he should be squishy, right? Theoretically, should be squishier. Like, you can actually kill him.
I mean, theoretically.
Theoretically. We'll see if this actually is an issue moving forward with Galio. But I think he'll be brought back down to earth, and people will stop playing. Maybe he can. It'd be great if he's still viable mid, and he just kind of you change his play style. But I don't want busted.
That's
against busted.
Being viable after your OP seems to be something that's frowned upon by the Riot Balance team. Where usually it's like, oh, you're very strong. Good night.
Yeah. There's no middle ground. No. If it actually is an issue, then yeah, they're gonna hot fix this, and no one will play Galio for the next 6 months.
There you go. I like New Galio. I like what he brings, but not at the extent of I don't do damage to you, and you still hurt very badly.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we're going to see Jungle Echo coming back.
Yeah, they really buffed his passive damage.
It's up to 200% against jungle creeps. So
yeah, double it. Why not?
hey, good. Echo's been kind of dead for a while too.
Rest in peace.
So
Jensen killed him.
yeah, it was Jensen's fault. So it's nice to see some dead things come to life and some living things go away and die. So it's good.
Wow.
Ardent Censer is gone.
Pretty morbid, man.
I mean, that's
Getting in the Halloween spirit.
Oh, I love me
Zombie
some
time.
Halloween.
And also, most important thing of the patch, when you press that play again button now, it remembers the roles you picked from the last game. Wow.
Crazy concept.
That is some groundbreaking technology.
Yeah.
It took years. Took years to figure out, but we're there. We got there, right. I see you, right.
They did memory foam pretty quick in those beds. They couldn't do that. It's the same thing with League. Just remembering where,
The shape of your body, the shape of your roles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like memory foam. It's pretty legit.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. I
Never
always
used it.
cringe when they do that wine testing with it, though. You know, where they put the wine glass on the bed and then they jump right beside it.
You don't think that, you don't buy that?
That's I don't really buy it, but that's risky, man. That's risky. Wine stains. It's a nice white mattress, man. Why bother risking that?
I don't know, but some people just really want wine in bed, man. What can I say?
Nah, I guess.
I guess. All right, let's get to some questions.
Let's get some questions
Send in those questions.
about wine
And
memory
stains.
foam
And stains.
and stains. Yeah, I really want to answer some questions about stains. Can't wait.
Yeah, it should be a great Q&A today.
Yeah.
So let's see. We'll keep answering as long as the questions don't suck, basically.
I mean, if they suck, we'll still answer them.
All right, that's fine. Sam Palin, if you're related to Sarah, say hello for me. If only SKT versus Misfits wasn't a thing, I feel Misfits could have been in the final against any other team. I don't even know if that's the case because SKT hasn't looked that strong. I mean, they put up a great fight. They went to 5 games. I mean, I think RNG has looked like a stronger team than SKT so far. I think Samsung in the quarters look like a stronger team than SKT. So you never really know. It's hard to say that Misfits would have beaten another team. It's also possible they would have lost even harder. So
Yeah, and I mean, some of these other top seeds against Longzhu, it'd be equally people not giving them a chance, not being confident in them. I don't know how well they do then. It's hard to speculate that kind of stuff. But I mean, going against SKT, I'm sure they had a pretty set mindset that they're like, all right, we pretty much have to play perfect to beat this team because they're SKT. So you got to think the approach that they took to that series had some play in how well they did.
yeah, you would think so. But
I would.
that's why you said what you said.
That's why I said it.
Wow. Ergot Pro with a pretty in-depth question. Do you really like SKT guys? I mean, I'm impartial. They're fine. I'm just tired of them winning.
Yeah, I would love to see someone else hoist the Summoners Cup. But, I mean, they're still an interesting team to watch because even when they're down 10K gold, you're like, I don't think they're going to lose. I wouldn't feel super safe. You never know. So, I mean, Semifinals, Worlds as a tournament is synonymous with them. In Season 4, when they weren't there, the whole tournament was weird. It was weird not seeing them there. So they have to be there. They have to be fighting for the finals.
Yeah, and Hugo's got a stain question for you.
Okay, here we go.
What
How to
stain
get
is,
one out?
No, what stain is worse? Wine or barbecue sauce? And he's, of course, asking for a friend. Of course.
I mean, there's a lot of variables that go into stain questions. Like
Enlighten me,
what kind of barbecue sauce? Red or white wine? What is the stain on? Is it a carpet? Is it a shirt? Like red wine's definitely going to be worse than white wine. Depending on the sugar content of the barbecue sauce is going to affect how bad that stain's going to be. And I mean, a carpet, it's definitely going to be worse on a carpet than a shirt.
Yeah.
If it's on a shirt, if it's a white shirt, throw it out, man. It's gone.
It's gone. You know what's really bad for stains?
Yeah.
Beets. Those things, impossible.
Beets are bad. You know, I got a pretty bad stain a little while ago. I was getting gas, and, I was trying to grab something from my pocket as I was pumping the gas, and I kind of moved the thing, and it sprayed all over my pants. That's a stain that's not coming out, man.
You have a
pants
gasoline stain on your
They're
pants.
gone. Well, they're gone, though. I threw them out. There's no saving it.
That's
There's no coming
tragic.
back.
That's a hell of a story.
Thanks. Just made it up.
I got you. Lawrence says, higher chance finale matchup, RNG versus Samsung or Samsung versus SKT?
Higher chance?
Yeah.
I mean, I think RNG, I give them the slight edge to get over SKT, so it's got to be them in the finals. I'm saying 55-45 RNG in that series. Pretty bold, pretty bold. So I think RNG Samsung is the most likely final.
It still sounds weird to say anyone's more likely to win over SKT. But
Yeah.
I do think this is a bit of a changing of the guards. Maybe SKT's finally getting a little elderly, even though, what, Faker's like 21 or something?
Oh,
Hang him
God.
up.
Yeah, he's done.
You old
What do you
man.
hang up? Your keyboard?
Your keyboard and mouse. Hang it over your door frame.
Can't close the door then.
Someone should do a Marshawn Lynch like retirement where they just shoot their mouse over a cable and be like,
Yeah, just throw their computer out the window.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh,
Wait,
no,
I
that
can
was a bad idea.
I can still play games, I guess.
Yeah. Or SKT, if they don't get out, they just blow up the whole team except for Faker.
Yeah.
Done it before.
I guess so. League of Legends players. Has Faker sucked this year? That is not the case.
I don't think he's sucked, no. I mean, he's had some not great games, but I mean, no one is going to have a fantastic game every single game of the year. He has maybe been off a little more than we're accustomed to seeing him, but I mean, even when SKT's been bad, it hasn't been his fault in a lot of these games, and that's kind of been the case throughout his career when SKT struggled. Season 4, they didn't make Worlds, was actually one of his best seasons. The rest of the team was just kind of floundering around him. So I definitely don't think Faker's the issue by any means. And those last couple games against Misfits, he carried them pretty well. Some of these team fights on Rise was fantastic, and he's pretty solid on Talia. So I wouldn't be worried about Faker.
No, I mean, the only thing this year is that he actually looks human, which I guess people aren't accustomed to seeing. Occasionally he'll do some weird flash stuff. We saw it on Talia that last game there. It was just like, what are you doing? And yeah, he's not always dominating his 1v1 matchup. So it's just that he looks human at points, but he can still take over games. And that's what he did against 4 and 5 against Misfits. He showed up to play when it mattered most.
Yeah, and also, again, the meta right now, it's not this meta that's been previous years where you've seen Faker 1v9. He can't really do that anymore. So.
No, you can't.
Not his fault.
No. Philip Paul has a question about some skins, Eric.
Okay.
What do you think of the new skins coming up for Rengar, Blitz, and Graves? You seen them? Rengar's like a transformer or something weird.
Why is Rengar a transformer?
Well, it's Mecha Rengar, but instead of calling it Renkar, which would have been funny, they call it Mecha Rengar.
You know, you had that one and the Kog'Maw one. Should be
Dogma instead of
Pugma.
Pugma. Doesn't make any sense.
It's clever. Copyright by Matt. I don't know. Why is I just don't get why Rengar's a mecha one.
He's like a dog thing. Why is he now a car?
I think he's a lion, man. You're selling him short a dog thing. He's a lion. He's a lion with an eye patch. Why is he got to be a transformer?
I'm no zoologist, man.
You told me you were.
I did go to school for zoology, actually, but that's beside the point.
It's the whole point. But
and,
yeah, so I'm not too familiar with the other skins, but Riot's done some weird skins lately.
Yeah.
I think they're running out of ideas.
Probably. And also from Phil, what do you think of Tyler once saying he'd be unbanned in about 2 months? He said it on a live stream at TwitchCon. He's back.
2 months, eh? So what was, I forget what the requirements were for him to get unbanned. Basically, you've got to prove that you're a new person and you've shown some growth and you're much less toxic, I guess. I mean, going on Beyond the Rift with Scar and I'm a Cutie Pie might have gone a long way for this guy.
Who knows? I think the requirements were that we were going to go through the account you were playing on, that you weren't supposed to be playing on during this time, and if your behavior is good, then yeah, we'll think about it. So I guess he's good.
I will say these lifetime bans for Riot, really not lifetime.
No.
Like a year.
I mean, that's feels like a lifetime, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you.
Mav wants to know, do you think Uzi will retire if RNG loses? It'd be tough to lose in a third final specifically.
People get asked for retirement so quickly in esports. This guy's like 21. He's younger than Faker. He's like 20 or 21. I mean, he's still proven he's at the top of not just the LPL, but the world at his position. I mean, I don't see any reason for him to retire. Maybe he changes scenery, either a different team in the LPL or leaves the LPL. Come on, NA franchising, bring Uzi over. Why not? But I don't think he should retire.
Yeah, it seems like he's been around for forever since he's gone back several years at Worlds. But yeah, he's only like 21.
Well, yeah, season 3 it was like, oh my God, this kid barely 17 is coming on and dumpstering everyone.
Yeah, he can't even walk yet.
He can't even really walk. Good. Yeah, he's very slow to develop. Yeah. Very slow.
Very slow. Danny, do you think it's possible for RNG to 3-0 SKT?
That's a little tougher.
Yes, it's harder than 3-2, yes.
I can't see Coach Kummel allowing that to happen. Even if SKT went down 2-0, he would, in that back room, have some stern words for the fellas, and I think I can't see them not winning a game. Yes. Unless they play Peanut all 3 games. Eventually, Blank's got to come in, and I think he'll do better than Peanut.
Yeah, those stern words probably translating something to like, I was going to be like, we are destined to win. Because all those translations are very formal.
Yes.
Where I'm sure he's just like, let's try to win, guys.
We will be triumphant in our legacy. Yeah. They always sound like video game characters.
Right. It's interesting. Phil wants to know, what do you guys think of C9 winning those 2 games with Singed? It was damn cool.
Everyone bust out the Singed, Rush Leandries. There were a lot of moments where he flash flipped for a good play and a lot of flash walk with your poison on. But I mean, it seemed to tilt WE and Mystic specifically, who said he asked, ban Singed, man. I don't want to play against that. Singed is so frustrating to play against because he moves so quickly, he's pretty tanky, and you get him super low, but you're not going to kill him because if you chase him, you're going to die. So he's a very frustrating champion. And now that his W grounds people, it's very interesting. I like the pick.
I do too. They also fall for the oldest trick in the Sins book, which is chasing him around the map while the other team goes and takes objectives such as Baron.
I mean, again, it's how often are you playing against this Singed?
Exactly.
He does have a world skin, though. So, somewhat popular.
I feel it. Tafori, do you guys think we will see Crown pull that magnificent Lysandra pick and raise her pick rate in solo queue once again? I've been playing it, and I gotta say, it feels pretty strong.
Yeah?
It does feel pretty strong. Yeah. The free mana on your spells every 15 seconds, pretty good. And again, just locking down someone.
Wave clear is pretty nasty once you have that Q on like a less than 2-second cooldown basically at max rank. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard to knock her. I mean, she's pretty predictable where she's going with that E, especially when she's trying to get away. It's pretty easy to knock her out of it in a gank. But, I mean, if you're not fully relying on that, it's a pretty solid pick.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. And, I mean, it kind of, no matter how good the enemy AD carry is, or.
Yeah, or just, it's just the variables way you can play her.
Chain CC too, yeah.
Yeah, or you fly in and you become untargetable for like 6 seconds with a Zhonya's. So it's a very interesting pick, and I'd love to see more.
Yeah, keep it coming, Crowny boy. Urgot Pro, I don't know if you've seen it. What about the new champ teaser? Did you watch it? I did not see it.
There's a new champ teaser.
Apparently.
No, I haven't seen it.
Well, then I can't say I'm a big fan of it. Haven't seen it yet.
That's a terrible approach to take. I feel like, I guess it's been a while since I had one. I kind of thought the Eve one was a new champion, but I guess it wasn't. Kind of is, but it wasn't.
Yeah. A couple more questions before we get out of here. If you have any questions about anything, life,
wow.
We're talking on Steam questions today.
We've broadened it to beyond what we're used to. So,
Worlds 1, everything else too.
Yeah.
Fast and Zuri 8. Will there be lives after Worlds and All Stars? We will keep doing shows because there's still a lot to talk about, my friend. There's all this NALCS stuff. People are going to be joining these rosters that are barren right now. All these NBA teams don't have anyone on their team.
Yeah, there's not a huge turnaround. Like, Worlds is going to end the first week in November, and then you've got a month till All-Stars for all that voting and stuff. And during that time, I'm sure there's going to be some franchising news because, yeah, who the hell are on the rosters, man? Who's even playing in the league? You have no idea. And then a month later, Spring Split starts. So the guys who didn't go to Worlds have a pretty lengthy time off, but guys who have been there, who have gone through all that travel, I mean, it's a quick turnaround. Bjergsen took his week and a half break from social media, and he's all ready to go.
Yeah.
I'd be taking a longer break than that, man.
He's a new person.
A week?
A week, it's all it takes. Turn the leaf.
Turn the leaf?
You know, someone told me that to me once. I've turned a new leaf.
Oh, turned a new leaf. Yeah, yeah. I thought just turn the leaf was a saying. I was like, what the? What is that?
Turn the leaf.
Yeah.
All right, I got you.
But yeah, we got more shows. We got plenty of content.
Oh, they're coming. Mav says, any Delta Fox members on new NALCS 2018? Cutie Pie?
Cutie Pie.
Shifter?
I mean, Shifter is a solo queue god. You never really fully saw that translate into the LCS. There were moments where he would take over a game, but he wasn't ever consistently that guy in the LCS. Void Boy, definitely not. Dyrus, definitely not. Skara, definitely not. Cutie Pie, listen, I know the salaries are probably going to be going up for franchising. They're still not touching what he makes streaming.
No.
He's got it pretty good. I don't know why he would go to the LCS to play on a mediocre team, because all the good teams kind of already have an AD carry. I don't see him going there and sitting in the middle to bottom standings when he's making that money.
Yeah, but you can sub out that white tank top for like a nice Golden State Warriors jersey.
That's true. That's true. He doesn't wear a tank top. It's a T-shirt.
Occasionally he does. Come on.
No, it's always a T-shirt.
To forward, do you guys hear rumors that G2 got accepted for franchising in NA and have to bring only 2 players? They already announced the 10 teams, and G2, well, not reportedly.
Yeah, it's always report. You got to throw the
10 teams. Yeah, because I don't want to be confirmed right now. But yeah, G2 not amongst those groups.
And reportedly declined.
Reported
from the NALCS. So they're going to keep their roster, except for Trick and maybe Expect.
Yeah.
But I imagine Perks and that bot lane will be sticking together because they're some of the best in EU, and why would you get rid of them? So.
Yeah. A couple more questions from Phil before we get out of here. One,
Sure thing.
he really likes Tyler 1.
He likes Tyler 1.
He loves Tyler 1. Anyway, you could get any league YouTubers on your show for interviews. Tyler 1, for example. We've had some people on the show. We've talked to Trashy in the past. Talked to some other esports people. Temple Storm Axe was on. Buddha, a streamer on YouTube, was on. But yeah, we're going to be talking hopefully to a bunch of people in the future. Maybe not YouTubers per se, but League of Legends personalities would be pretty sweet. And as for he wants an honest talk about the chairs. He doesn't think they're comfortable. He thinks those armchairs we had before were comfortable. Let me tell you, Phil. You see this pillow? This pillow is comfy.
I don't have a pillow.
You don't have the.
Well,
you took it home. It's so comfortable.
Yeah, I took it home. I sleep with it. It's my only pillow. The old chairs, if you'll remember, there were 2 different sets. The brown ones, you're very far back in them. You feel very relaxed in them.
Yeah.
The gray ones, you're a little more uppity, and you're ready to go. You know, they're more stern on your back. This is the best of both, really.
The armrest is the perfect height.
It is a perfect height. I mean, you could adjust them.
Well, I was complimenting myself up
Okay.
the chair.
Okay.
I put this at a great height, man. You
can move the armrest, so that's pretty key.
Which that?
I got no complaints. It's pretty comfy.
No. And you know, Phil, if you don't trust us, we can give you a discount on one of these chairs. If you head to dxracer.com, use our code there, ShotCallers, 15% off.
15%, that's not bad. You know what that's better than? 14%.
Wow, I never thought of it that way. That's quite a deal then.
It's quite a deal.
That's quite the deal. But yeah, I mean, honest to God, they're comfy.
They're very comfy. And I don't even have all the frills. There's usually a back thing.
Yeah, I got a lumbar support.
Yeah, I don't need that. I don't need the frills. I shop at no frills.
My lumbar has never felt better in my life.
I don't think a lumbar's... Is it a part of your body?
Absolutely.
All right. I'm not sure about that.
Well, that's too bad.
Okay. Is that the last question?
That's it.
That's the last question.
And we took it for a spin.
We definitely spun around with that one. Great questions, as always.
Yeah, I mean, we went everywhere with the questions today.
Yeah, some better than others, but...
Yeah. And Eric's obviously an expert when it comes to barbecue sauce and wine stains, so...
That's a fact.
Hugo,
I thought everyone knew
You can tweet at him after and be like, man, my friend needs more information.
If you got stain questions, send them my way.
You're asking for a whole lot of interesting things coming your way, Eric. But yeah, we're not doing shows Thursday, Friday because obviously there's no Worlds Thursday, Friday. So we will be back on Monday with the semifinals breakdown to tell you why 2 teams are not moving on to the finals, what they did wrong, why we hate them.
Why we hate them. And it is the day before Halloween on that Monday show. So potentially we'll have something special for you. Potentially. Now I've just put pressure on us. Now we probably have to.
Daphne, what are you wearing? Secretive as always.
Team
Doesn't talk, but
not much. A little though.
yeah.
Very scary when she does, but she does talk a little. So yeah, we'll be back Monday for some fun.
3 o'clock for Get Boosted. Anywho, have a good weekend. Enjoy the semifinals. We'll see you on Monday.